people are growing up today not knowing how to fry an egg. The way they fry an egg is going to Cracker Barrel or McDonald's in the morning and say, "Fry it for me." um, and that's a scary thought. Basic cooking classes should be taught, and probably starting to be taught in the 6th grade.
Welcome to the Nick Speaks podcast, where we speak up, speak out, and speak loud for the disabled community. Tune in every Tuesday, and don't forget to subscribe. And now your host, Nicholas Comstock.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to this brand new installment of the Nick Speaks podcast, the podcast where we speak up, speak out, and speak loud for the issues that matter to the disabled the most, and we speak up, speak out, and speak loud for every issue in between. I am your host, Nick Comstock. I am so glad you're joining me on this Tuesday, whether you're starting your morning with me at 7 a.m., or whether you're ending your day with me, or whether you're having some Panda Express and you're having a lunch break. I love Panda Express. One of my favorite meals there is the honey sesame chicken with the lo mein. I always get a plate of honey sesame chicken and a plate of the lo mein. Because why? I'm a big bat. But whether you're having lunch with me at Cant Express, or whether you're having your morning coffee with me, or whether you're getting ready to go to sleep, thank you for spending part of your Tuesday with me. I hope you have had a wonderful week. You guys, you know I always love to start off the podcast and tell you what I've been up to, something new I've kind of started just to let you in my life a little bit. So this past Thursday, I looked at my caregiver and I said, "Hey, we're going to go to Clara's Fashion Place." And it's the mall here in Columbus, one of the two major ones. We have Clara's, and then we have Easton Mall, which I'm going to probably go over there sometime this week and take a look at some of the shops and the restaurants that they have around at Easton. The only problem is with Easton, there's really no parking down there. There's parking garages, and I don't know if any of them are free or if you have to pay for them. Player is you kind of just pick a part of the mall you want to go into, and you park there where that part of the mall is. And so that's what makes it nice between the two. But anyway, this past Thursday, I said to my caregiver, "Let's go to Clara's." And they said, okay. And so we hopped in the company van that stays at my house 24/7, thank God. And we went over to Clara's. And we just walked around in the mall for a little bit. You know, I'm trying. Yours truly struggles with depression a lot. And so I have looked at my team and said, I have got to do something to get out of this funk that I'm constantly in. I am on depression medication, but I have got to get out more. So I have told the company that I'm with, I'm going to run the wheels off of your vehicle. And I've told them that a couple times before, and then I haven't followed through. So when I said it this time around, they're like, yeah, okay, Nick, you know, whatever. But this time I'm really trying to make it happen. So we went to the mall this past Thursday, and we went to a pizza place in the food court called Navarro's, which now I know from talking to a couple people since I've been there, Navarro's used to be really good. Now, I tried it on Thursday, and to be honest with you, I was not impressed. Now, I love pizza, really any type of pizza, except there's a pizza place right here in my neighborhood called Happy's Pizza, and I had it on the first night that I moved into my apartment. And let me tell you, they may be called Happy's Pizza, but it's not a real Happy's experience in my book. But anyway, but Navarro's was okay. it didn't have a lot of sauce on it. And I don't like an overabundance of sauce, but I like to know that sauce is on my pizza. And Navarro's just didn't do it for me. I paid $20 for a large pizza, brought some home for the next day, which is always good because I'm a bachelor. And so it, ju- it just didn't do it for me. I mean, come on, guys, you can do better. And what's up with these pizza places not offering stuffed crust pizza? But a lot of these chains offer stuffed crust pizza now. And so we need to get some of these mom and pop shops um, to start providing stuffed crust pizza because it's one of my favorites. And I would much rather have stuffed crust over thin crust, although I've started to become a real fan of thin crust. I didn't used to be, but a fat person like me loves stuffed crust because you can eat more of it and not feel full. Whereas if you're eating a heavy crust pizza, like a stuffed crust pizza, you can only eat one or two pieces, and then it's like, oh, I'm done. It's good, but I'm done. So yeah. So we went to the mall and just hung out at Navarro's and took a lot of pictures and all that stuff and had a lot of fun. And I encourage you, if you're a caregiver, whether you're with your client for 8 hours a day or 24 hours a day or 4 hours a day, if it is in their care plan to get them out of the house, make sure you do what you can to get them out of the house, whether it's just going outside and sitting on the patio or uh, going to the park for a while. Make sure you do what you can to get your clients out of the house. And clients, come up with something for your caregiver and you to go do. That's what I'm working on with my staff right now is we're coming up with daily activities to go do, whether it's a half an hour, 30 minutes, or maybe 2 hours of the day, we're out of the house and we're having a great time. So I just want to put that out there before we get in the crux of the episode. Caregivers, if you're able to get your clients out of the house, get them out of the house, especially before winter hits, because it's much harder. But even when winter hits, when it's not 30 inches of snow, do whatever you can to get your client out of the house and make sure they have as much of a great life as possible. Okay, guys, now that I've shared with you what I did over the past week, I really want to talk about something. Um, I have gone viral within the past couple weeks on several different posts that I've made on TikTok and Facebook. And if you're not following me on either platform, please head over to TikTok and Facebook and follow me on TikTok at sign Nicholas Comstock. And then Facebook, you can just follow me. Type in Nicholas Comstock. I'll make sure Kyle puts it all on the screen for you. If you're not following me over there, follow me over there. I post daily content. We've been having some spirited debates and it's a lot of fun. But I really want to talk to you about something. So this past week, I was also in a meeting with my case manager, and I brought up, and I brought this up before. I brought up the suggestion of having a place like Cook Unity deliver meals to my home. Because to be honest with you, I've had caregivers since 2012, and I can probably count on one hand how many caregivers that I've had that actually know how to cook a home cooked meal. And I'm not talking like a 4 course meal. I'm talking like a simple basic meatloaf, taco meat, spaghetti, lasagna, um baked chicken, fried chicken, all the normal meals that normal Americans eat. I can probably count on one hand, 5 fingers, how many caregivers that I've had over the years that actually know how to cook a meal. So I've said to my case manager who deals with authorizing my services, I said to him the other day, and just in a pop-up visit that he decided to do, I said, "Hey, is there a way that I could get my waiver to pay for home delivered meals like Cook Unity or something like that?" And he said, "No, Nick, because it's considered a duplication of services. In the state's mind, you have 24/7 staff. So one of their responsibilities is to be cooking a meal for you. And if you had a meal preparation service or a meal delivery service, you could not get 24/7 staff because that would mean that they're, paying for two services essentially." And I really um having a hard time digesting that, which is one of the reasons this past week that I've gone viral on TikTok and Facebook. Um, because I brought this to my TikTok and Facebook audience. I talk about all the time different things that go on in my life. And so I brought this to my social media audience, and the reaction I got was not what I was expecting. I don't expect everyone to agree with everything I say all the time, but wow. I have discovered over this past week how many assholes we have in this country. Because people have just come out and been flat rude to yours truly. And I have thick skin and it's a good thing, but let me tell you, my God. Um, yeah. So, I've had people say to me, it looks like you could lose a few pounds, quit trying to get more free stuff from the government. Uh, it should be in your care plan for caregivers to cook for you. If they're not cooking for you, why don't you go to a new agency? I'm a caregiver and it's our responsibility to cook. And then on the other side of that, it's like cooking, not a 4-course meal like you're wanting. And then what's funny is, so once somebody finds my social media, they go back and they look at all my other posts. And I also sometimes post pictures of the food that I get or have for dinner. And so, then I'll get people saying, "Oh, that looks like too much food for one person. Try portion control." And I'm just like, damn, people, I just wanted a simple opinion, not for you to come about how the way I look, how much food I need to be eating. Whether you think I need to try a diet or not is none of your business. I'm just like, dang, like America needs a course in kindness. I think, to be honest. Now, let me tell you, I mean, some of these people that have come at me pretty hard, I've given it right back to them. One guy commented on my comment and said, "You could lose a few pounds." And I said, "Yeah, why don't you? I think I hear your mom calling for your next bowl of Cocoa Puffs. Why don't you go see if that's ready? And by the way, since you're down in that basement of yours, why don't you put some pants on? I heard it gets drafty down there." Because if you're going to be mean to me, whether it's through a screen or in person, I'm not just going to let you walk all over me. Um, so yeah, listen, guys, I really do not think this is a duplication of services because look, I'm still having, whether it's a already prepared meal or whether it's groceries that I'm buying from the grocery store, I'm still having my staff prepare that. Whether it's food I order from DoorDash, they have to take it out of the package, put it on the plate. set it up to where I can eat it. They had to do that for me this morning before I came on the air. They had to take, I have packages of donuts. Don't hate me. I have packages of donuts in my cabinet. And before I came on the air this morning, I said to my staff, hey, could you get me a little package of donuts, put them in a bowl for me, and then set out my medication so I can take it. I have to have that done for me. So I do not understand this idea of it's a duplication of services. And if states really feel that way, because I've been hearing from all over the country, it's the same way in Texas, it's the same way here in Oregon, it's the same way here in wherever you are, California. And I was hearing from a bunch of people that it is uh, the exact same way. And I'm sitting here saying, this is so ridiculous and stupid because if a caregiver, if the person needs help, whether it's putting the meal in the microwave or making it from scratch from the beginning, the caregiver is going to have to help regardless, especially a situation like mine. And then you have the caregivers that are like, no, I'm not making a 7-course meal and then washing the dishes. That's not part of my job. And I'm like, I'm not asking for a 7-course meal. Usually I have a sandwich or something during the day, and that's my main meal. So I don't have like a 7-course meal going on during the day. People who do, I don't understand how they uh live. I mean, I don't get 7-course meals. The only time I get a multiple course meal is during the holidays when everybody's around and we're, eating turkey and dressing or stuffing or whatever you call that. The only time I eat a multiple course meal is during the holidays. So I don't know where everybody else is getting that I want a 7-course meal and I just want free stuff from the government. And then, by the way, you want the government to pay for your takeout and your fast food? No, I don't. But here's a shocker for you. Breaking news, wherever you get your news from, whether it's Fox News, CNN, MS Now, ABC, breaking news. I do use government resources to buy fast food, and that's the Social Security that I get because, like I've told you just a few minutes ago, I can count on one hand how many caregivers I've actually had that know how to cook a decent meal. And so I'm sure I'm not the only one that uses resources um, to buy fast food. And let me say this, and then they say, oh, well, because you get food stamps, that's supposed to supplement. That's not supposed to take care of your whole food budget. That's a supplement. Well, the thing is for me, I get $62 a month and that could buy maybe one meal per week. Um, and that's what I get for the month. And I understand people get a lot less, like 15 or $16 or $24. So I want to say right off the bat, I appreciate what I get and I do legally qualify for what I receive. But if the state really considers giving somebody who receives 24/7 care a home delivered meal, a duplication of services, because they believe that their caregivers that they're paying to already be there for 24/7, then the state needs to step in and come up with a fund to give all agencies that'll pay for them to receive 6 months of basic cooking lessons. Because I'm telling you, I'm not the only one that is struggling with caregivers who do not know how to cook. 100% of my caregivers are from another country. And that is a lot of the case here where I live in Columbus, Ohio. I can tell you that right now. 100 of my caregivers specifically are from another country. A lot of them are from Cameroon. One of them is from Sierra Leone in Africa. And, that's the case here in Columbus, Ohio. And I love how people are like, well, maybe you need to try other countries' foods. I don't have any problem with that. But I also like my traditional burger and my meatloaf and my lasagna and my spaghetti. And although I will say, I don't like spaghetti when it's first prepared, I like it more the next day. I'm a next day kind of guy when it comes to spaghetti. I don't really like it when it's freshly prepared, although it's good. I would much rather have it the next day after flavors have had a chance to marinate. As one of my friends says, as flavors had a chance to marinate and get together and have sex. I would much rather have spaghetti the next day. But anyway, that's besides the point. But seriously, like I'm saying, if the state deems giving home delivered meals to people who already receive 24/7 staff double dipping because they should have their caregivers cooking for them, then the state needs to provide a 6-month basic cooking program, probably twice a year, because the way that caregivers come and go like a revolving door, uh, a lot of clients are always having new staff come in. So they might want to provide these classes 2 or 3 times a year. And I really think that that is a viable solution. Fine. If you want to have that ridiculous rule and say that, people who receive 24/7 services can't receive a home delivered meal like Cook Unity or HelloFresh or Meals on Wheels or Mom's Meals, which I said something about having Meals on Wheels or Mom's Meals delivered to me. And I've had both in the past before I had 24/7 care. And a lot of people were telling me in the comments, uh, what was I thinking about? Meals on Wheels. A lot of people were telling me that, Meals on Wheels are for senior citizens and Nick, you don't qualify. And then a lot of people were telling me that Meals on Wheels are small. And because they have to make mass production of food, that the food is very underwhelming. It's not very good. It's very nasty. They don't season their food because they're mass producing it and all that stuff. And I am well aware that Meals on Wheels, God bless their souls for what they do for communities around the country. But I am very well aware that Meals on Wheels are not very tasty meals and they are flavorless and they don't taste very good. And even if they say staff is not allowed to help with that because it's a home delivered meal, when I had Meals on Wheels, my mom had to doctor them up a lot because they were that bad. So yes, I get that. And because I mentioned Cook Unity in these videos and said, it'd be nice to have like a meal delivery service like Cook Unity where it's prepared for by chefs. A lot of people are assuming that I'm being bougie and I want a private chef to come prepare my meals. No, that is not the case at all. I just mentioned a fact about Cook Unity, about their meals being prepared by a professional chef. If you don't want me to have meals prepared by a professional chef, have a professional chef come in and say, okay, this is how you do a basic meatloaf. This is how you do a chili. This is how you do taco meat. I listen, I don't care if it's a school lunch lady doing the cooking training. There are plenty of clients like myself that struggle with caregivers who simply do not know how to cook a basic meal. And it needs to change. It needs to really change. And for all of you in my comments talking about, well, your staff can go watch a simple YouTube video, or you can get a cookbook and sit down with your staff and they can go through it and blah, 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 blah. You have all these great ideas. You want to come to my apartment and do it yourself? Because I have an amazing care team, but not a lot of us have that luxury of, hey, let's sit down and figure this out. Because a lot of caregivers just want to come in, do a job for a paycheck, and then go home and not think about it the next day. And for those of you that are saying until the next day, and for those of you that are saying, oh, well, just call another agency and request a caregiver that can cook for you. And these are caregivers who, in the same breath, complain about the caregiver crisis and there's no staff and I can't get enough pay. And you're over here telling me, oh, I need to call my agency and request another caregiver, or I need to go into another agency altogether. Like, are you kidding me? Going to another agency is not going to solve the problem of caregivers not knowing how to cook a basic meal, because the common denominator between all these agencies is a lot of their caregivers don't know how to cook. I remember several years ago when I first moved out on my own 8 years ago, I lived with roommates for a period of time. And so I would have to hire my own staff. Um, that was my responsibility. And I don't mean like hire them and enter. They would have to bring in separate staff for me because the roommates and I would argue over, oh, well, because the roommates thought I was stealing their staff. So the agency had to go in and get separate staff for me so that the other roommates didn't feel that I was stealing their staff. And so, I remember several years ago, a staff came to interview to take care of me. And she looked at my primary caregiver at the time and said, can you teach me how to make manwich? Sloppy Joe out of a can. She didn't know how to make sloppy Joe out of a can. This young girl was 19 years of age. Didn't know how to make sloppy Joe out of a can. And my caregiver looked at her like she was an idiot, as he should have. And it's real sad. I'm worried about the kids that are growing up and that are going to go into this field eventually. Number one, they don't have the same work ethic that a lot of these caregivers who've been doing it for 10, 20 years or more. Number two, they don't know how to fry an egg. Now, I don't like an egg, so that won't be a problem because I can't stand eggs. But, there are a lot of people who love eggs. And people want them today not knowing how to fry an egg. The way they fry an egg is going to Cracker Barrel or McDonald's in the morning and say, fry it for me. And that's a scary thought. I think basic cooking classes should be taught, and probably starting to be taught in the 6th grade on up. Because, people in today's world, they get married later. And, I'm not an advocate for keeping women in the kitchen barefoot and pregnant like we were back in the day. But men and women need to learn how to cook basic meals such as meatloaf and spaghetti and, I mean, good Lord, show them how to cook a frozen pizza. Because let me tell you, I could go get frozen food from the store, and a caregiver can mess that up. Believe it or not, I've had caregivers who don't even know how to boil water. I've had caregivers who think that Cheerios is to be boiled on the stove. I had my roommate come to me one morning. We had another caregiver from another country. And he said, Nick, and this roommate and I didn't get along at all. And he said, Nick, I need to talk to you. And I said, what's up? And he said, come look at my Cheerios on the table. This lady boiled my Cheerios. I said, I called his name. I said, shut up. Are you serious? And he was like, yeah, this lady boiled my Cheerios. And so I drove out of my room at the time where I was living and I looked, and I know I'm legally blind, but the bowl of Cheerios that I saw on that table looked like mushed shit. And she had a pot of boiling water on that stove, and she actually boiled the Cheerios. Okay? Like, are you messed up? I mean, let me tell you something. I am glad to have caregivers from another country because I get to learn another culture. I get to try their food. I get to learn what it was like for them to grow up on the other side of the world. And to be honest with you, I would much rather have a caregiver from another country because you know what? They have a much more fuller heart of compassion than some of these Americans do who want to come into a shift at 8 o'clock in the morning and they're supposed to be there until 4, but yet they want to leave at 1 o'clock because they have something else to go do. No, these foreign caregivers that come into work are some of the hardest working people I have ever seen in my life. They come into work and they stay. Look, my foreign caregivers try to come into work early while someone else is on shift so they could get paid. And so another caregiver will leave so they can get their bread and get a little more bread than what they're already getting. And these foreign caregivers, they hustle. These American caregivers don't care whether, you know why? Because the government has said, we will take care of you. So there is no need to go get a job from 8 to 4 or just work as much as you can without losing your benefits and you'll be okay. But not these foreign caregivers, man. They will work in American under the table. I will tell you that right now. Because I've seen it with my own eyes. I mean, some of these caregivers, they don't live at home. They live in my home. They live in other clients' homes because they just go from one client to another and continue to stack the cash. I don't know what the American caregiver's problem is. I really don't. Um, anyway, so, and if we're going to have these foreign caregivers, I'm happy to have them. But train them a little bit about the American culture. Train them how to cook American food. Again, not a 5-course meal like a lot of you are suggesting that I want in the comments. Just a simple meatloaf, spaghetti, taco meat, lasagna, chicken Alfredo, simple meals like that. And, I want to go on to another topic, but it has to do with social media. So a couple of weeks ago, I made another TikTok that has gone viral. It's almost got 400,000 views. And I started off that TikTok by saying I've been rejected by a lot of caregivers because simply they don't want to do personal care. They don't want to wipe a butt. And I said in that video, which is where a lot of people stop. As soon as I said I've been rejected by a lot of caregivers simply because they don't want to do personal care and wipe the butt, that's where a lot of people started typing their opinion. They didn't even listen to the whole video. Because what I said was that if caregivers are comfortable enough to reject someone like me who needs personal care because they don't want to do it, then those same caregivers who are constantly telling their management, I don't want to work with clients who have to have their butt wiped. Those same caregivers should be able to go to their agency and say, hey, I'm being beat up by my client every day. They're pulling my hair, they're biting me, they're trying to SA me, they've threatened me. I mean, I get hundreds of comments on a daily basis if I talk about issues with my caregivers, and they say, I'm getting clients that beat the crap out of me. I would love to take care of someone like you, Nick. And so in that video, I was trying to explain, I was advocating for caregivers. If you are in that situation where a client is beating you up, get the hell out. You don't have to stay there. Instead, 300,000 people took it the wrong way and said, this guy's being inappropriate with caregivers. Hey, Nick, if you've been banned from having female caregivers, it's probably you being inappropriate. I've never said that I've been banned from having female caregivers. I've never said anything like that. I've never been inappropriate with female caregivers at all. Now, I've had some female caregivers say to their agency after 6 months of being with me, I don't want to be with Nick anymore because he's been inappropriate. He's making noises while I'm changing his brief. Well, okay, why didn't you tell me that 6 months ago when we were working together every day laughing? And now all of a sudden, 6 months later, you want to go tell your agency that I'm harassing you because I'm making some kind of noise that insinuates to you that I want a lot more than a caregiver to do their job. And I said that in that same video, that I was advocating for caregivers, I said that I have a strictly male staff now. And so then some people started insinuating that because I'm attracted to men and because I'm gay, that the reason I have females or the reason I have male staff and all male staff is because I want them to do something else to me other than their job. I'm just like, that is not what I said at all. So one of the lessons that I want to get across in this podcast today is watch someone's video all the way through before you start being a keyboard warrior. And if you don't have anything nice to say, this is a very simple lesson. We need to get back to simple lessons in this country. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Like, honest, don't say anything at all if you don't have anything nice to say or constructive. Like I said, y'all don't have to agree with me, but y'all don't have to come in my comments and talk about, oh, looks like I can lose a few pounds. Oh, looks like you need a salad. Oh, that food's way too much for you. Try portion control. Oh, you're making noises to get off while your caregiver's doing your pericare. No, I'm not. I don't have a problem getting off. I can get off by myself. Thank you very much. And I don't need a caregiver to help me do it. So, geez, I mean, listen, this is an issue that I believe every state needs to take a look at. If states are gonna have rules that say we cannot allow our clients to utilize home delivered meals because they already have staff that should be cooking for them. They already have them there for 24/7. Fine. I'm all for saving a buck. I get it. I live on Social Security. I'm all for saving a buck anytime I can. If you're going to have that rule, then take that money that you would spend on that client if they didn't have 24/7 services. Take that money that you would allow them to use for home delivered meal service and invest it in your caregivers to have a simple, basic cooking class. And if you're not going to do that because, oh, well, our caregivers are from another culture and they're just not around American food, or that would be way too much money. They're only supposed to do light cooking anyway. Then allow clients who need 24/7 care to have a home delivered meal service like Cook Unity, HelloFresh, or Mom's Meals if they want it. Now, when I had Mom's Meals, it wasn't that bad, but from what I've heard, they really went downhill as far as their meal prep service. My comments throughout this whole process, but yeah, so you know, like I said, I don't believe that having a home delivered meal and a 24/7 staff is a duplication of services. But apparently, a lot of states and a lot of people in my comments do. So then let's fix the issue of having a lack of caregivers who know how to cook by providing them with a basic cooking training class at least twice a year. That's what I think should happen. I would really like to know what some of you that have listened to this podcast today think about this. You've heard my opinion, and if you're here because you've seen my TikTok and my Facebook Reels, thank you for following me. I've also had a lot of support uh, saying that, Nick, this is ridiculous. I'm sorry that you're going through this. Um, it's not a duplication of services. I've also had a lot of support saying that, but you know how it is. The negative always outweighs the positive, unfortunately, especially in social media world. So thank you for listening to me today. I would really like to know what you think about this topic of duplication of services when it comes to home delivered meals versus having caregivers cook for you. Should home delivered meals be allowed, considering the fact that caregivers are only supposed to do light cooking anyway and light meal prep? Um, and considering that a lot of people are saying those home delivered meals are more expensive than the food that you get at the grocery store. Well, not really, considering the fact someone like me only gets $62 a month. So, because I'm having to severely eat into my Social Security budget. And I know a lot of you are saying, well, the food stamps are not supposed to cover all your food expenses. I know, I've heard that too. I get it. So then, if the food stamps are not a lot, are not supposed to cover all my food expenses, then we need employers to step up and allow and give people with disabilities a chance to make a living, and get the 80% of people with disabilities employed in this country that are not gainfully employed because employers don't want to give them a chance because we're too much of a liability risk, or there's too much involved. You can't just train somebody and throw them in a job after 3 weeks of training. So yeah, just let me know what you think about this topic today. I would really like to know. Please be kind and considerate in the comment. Don't be an asshole. Because you know what? If you're an asshole to me in my comments after today's episode, I'm just going to be an asshole to you. Trust and believe. And I do not care. I'm a Christian, but I'm also a hood rat. So um if you're nasty to me in my comments, I'm going to be nasty to you. So, because this idea of I love Jesus and I'm not nasty, I love Jesus, or and I'll be nasty to you at the same. And then I'll have people say, well, you say you love Jesus and you talk like that. Listen, I love Jesus and I talk like that, and I don't care. So if you're nasty to me, I'm going to be nasty to you. You know, the golden rule: treat others the way you want to be treated. Well, if you're going to be nasty to other people, then that must be the way you want to be treated. So I'm going to treat you the same way, because that's the golden rule, right? And before you say, oh, well, that's not really what the golden rule means, and shut up. I don't have time for you. I don't have time for your philosophical lesson because you want to be all spiritual and everything else. So just realize, if you're going to be nasty to me in my comments, I'm going to be nasty to you and back to you. And yes, I wouldn't just say it to your face. I wouldn't just say it behind the screen. I'd say it to your face. But the problem is, a lot of you don't have the balls to say what you say to me behind the screen. But I have the balls to say it to your face. So I'm not afraid. Anyway, so I would really like to know what you think about today's topic, whether you think that this is a duplication of services, and let me know what you think about, caregivers receiving basic cooking training. Let me know what you think about, starting basic cooking training in the 6th grade in our schools. I think that is something that is desperately needed, especially in this instant gratifying, give it to me right now generation that we are in. I think basic cooking classes need to be trained in our schools. So let me know what you think. I would love to know what you think about today's podcast. Please tell someone else about the Nick Speaks podcast. Please give us a 5-star rating if you're listening on Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio. Please give us a 5-star rating. If you're listening on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. Help me get to 1,000 subscribers so that I can monetize. And please hit the subscribe button and hit that little notification bell so you can be notified every time a new episode of Nick Speaks drops, which a new episode of Nick Speaks drops every Tuesday at 7 a.m. So make sure you're here, whether you're here at 7 a.m. or 9 p.m. I'm glad that you're here on this Tuesday. So please make sure that you're here. Thank you for your support. For those of you that listen on a consistent basis and you do comment to me and you do email me, if you do want to email me, please email me at nickspeaksofficial@gmail.com and let's connect and let's talk. If you ever want to be on the show to tell your story or talk about a topic that I'm talked about on the show, please email me at nickspeaksofficial@gmail.com. You guys, this is the Nick Speaks podcast, the podcast where we speak up, speak out, and speak loud about the issues that matter to the disabled the most and the issues everywhere else in between. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Nick Speaks. I will see you next Tuesday. Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Nick Speaks podcast, where we speak up, speak out, and speak loud for the disabled community. If today's conversation resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss a new episode. You can find Nick across all platforms by visiting his link tree in the show notes. And please leave a comment to join the conversation. Until next time, keep speaking up, keep speaking out, and keep speaking loud.